So let's talk about the San Diego Padres. San Diego is kind of a sports city that has had some bad times and all that. The San Diego actually had an NBA team. Bet you didn't know that. But yeah, San Diego had a team, and then a couple years later, they went to Houston to become the Rockets. The football team, big name in San Diego for a long time in the '60s in the AFL, and then went to the NFL. Lost the Super Bowl in 1995. Their only appearance in the Super Bowl. Eric Coryell couldn't get to the Super Bowl, but Alex Spaniels and his greed made the Chargers leave in 2016 for Los Angeles. Hockey, San Diego really doesn't have much for hockey except the WHA, the World Hockey Association, and the fact that their baseball team has done decently, getting to 2 World Series appearances in '84 and '98. And not winning it. But of course, we can't talk about the '84 and '98 Padres because the rule is when we do a what if, we do it based off of a team that didn't get to the finals. So let's talk about how San Diego was rocked by Rocktober in 2007. You've got Jeff Diamond, you've got one man, you've got a hat, a bat, and that's definitely not all. You got the bleachers, got it from spring to fall, you got a dog, a drink, and that umpire's call. What do you want? Let's play what if. Okay, okay, Cutter, do some what ifs. Okay, okay, Cutter, do some what ifs. So the San Diego Padres were born out of necessity because they wanted baseball in the West Coast. The Pacific Coast League was called the unofficial third major league in the 1930s, and they did have some great players coming from the PCL, including Joel Vincent Don DiMaggio and one Ted Williams, who played for San Diego in the Pacific Coast League. San Diego was proud of their PCL heritage and was even prouder to realize that they could get a Major League ball team as Major League decided to expand San Diego in 1969 alongside Montreal into the National League. The Padres had to take some time to gel and all that and sucked. And San Diego was hemorrhaging money so much so that by 1973, there were threats that they were going to move San Diego to Washington because Washington just lost the Senators to Texas. So everything was set up. There were even playing cards with the Washington Stars stuff on it. And, they would have Washington like slapped on to the San Diego Padres brown uniforms and all that. But unfortunately, though, it didn't go through as Ray Kroc, the man behind McDonald's, actually bought the team and kept the team in San Diego. It didn't do him any good because the first day the Padres sucked in '74, he took to the mic and said, "This team sucks," and he's embarrassed. The Padres had some decent guys. They got Dave Winfield in the baseball draft. They had Gaylord Perry for a while, and Randy Jones, who was a Cy Young winner in 1975. But San Diego just couldn't get over the hump. People were thinking Ray Kroc had made a terrible investment, and McDonald's is a good investment. Regardless of that, Ray Kroc would pass in 1984, and his wife Joan promised the team would stay in San Diego until she found a suitable buyer. Ironically enough, that 1984 season was made to be the Padres' best season in history, as they somehow won the NL West despite a brawl-filled game against Atlanta that was famous for all the wrong reasons. So the Padres, with their never say die offense and defense, and the presence of one Steve Garvey and Tony Gwynn, got to the NLCS against the Chicago Cubs. First 2 games in Chicago, they got their butts handed to them, and everyone thought the Cubs were just on their way to the World Series against the Tigers. But no way. The Padres came back in Game 3, decent effort, and then Game 4, the Saturday night, is when Lee Smith gave up that big 2-run home run to Steve Garvey over Henry Cottle's glove. And as Jerry Coleman says, you can hang a star on that baby. But also Don Drysdale, who was doing the play-by-play for ABC, said, "It's Garvey, and there will be tomorrow." Well, Garvey kind of had, Drysdale had a little bit of a bias because he was from the West Coast, and he did play for the Dodgers. and he was the Angels broadcaster for a while. So anyway, the Padres were ready to go. They were down 3-0 to the Cubs. It looked like the Cubs were going to win Game 5 and nothing bad would happen until a series of hits and a ground ball. I think it was Carmelo Martinez who hit it, but the ball went through Leon Durham's legs. And this was the Buckner play before Buckner even did it. And this is one of the most overlooked defensive lapses in baseball history, that it went through Durham's legs. And unfortunately, the momentum turned and the Padres won that game 6-3 and went to the World Series and got their butts handed to them by the Tigers, even though Dick Williams left it up to Goose Gossage, and Gossage said, I'm not going to walk Kirk Gibson. Should have walked him because Kirk Gibson hit that big 3-run home run to win the game in Game 5. But anyway, the Padres were struggling along. They did have some hot shit prospects. They had Roberto Alomar and his brother Sandy Alomar Jr., alongside a few other people like John Kruk. But the Padres would trade all those guys away. Kruk to Philly, Robbie to Toronto, and Sandy to Cleveland. That Toronto trade was huge because it was star for star. It was a win-win trade for both squads. The Padres traded away Robbie Alomar and Joe Carter to Toronto and got back Fred McGriff and Tony Fernandez. McGriff would be a hitting star for San Diego, who then flipped him to Atlanta for the 93 season, and Atlanta used that to catch the Giants and win the NL West. Tony Fernandez would play a few years in San Diego, then left for the Mets, and then when the Jays needed a shortstop after Dick Schofield went down, they picked up Tony Fernandez just for the one of Darren Jackson. And Fernandez put up, 6 RBIs in the 1993 World Series, a record that not even Jeter has done. And then you got yourself the fact that, Robbie Alomar, 5 years with the Blue Jays, all Gold Glove years. He was pretty good until he went to Baltimore and then did the spitting incident in Toronto, mind you. And of course, Joe Carter, legend, 93 World Series, only the second walk-off home run to win a World Series. Touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run. That's right, Tom Cheek. But yeah, it was one of the biggest win-win trades in history. Although San Diego would not have it. They never got rid of Tony Gwynn. They never wanted to. So the Padres in 98 shocked everyone by using the Hells Bells of Trevor Hoffman's closing and some decent starting pitching by Kevin Brown before he left to LA for money. And the Padres shocked the Braves and went to the World Series against the Yankees, but those 114-win Yankees were too much, sweeping the Padres in the process. San Diego had to grow a little bit. Tony Gwynn lasted till 2001, retired. Ricky Henderson played a few years with the Padres and did well. The Padres in 2005, I think it was, that they won the division, and they were like only 2 games above 500. The Padres tried as they might, they just couldn't over the hump. A few playoff appearances since 2007 here, and a few playoff appearances there, and Manny Machado's there in Slam Diego. So do the Padres have a chance? Maybe so. But here's one chance they never got into it. It's 2007. Here we go. So the San Diego Padres, this is how their 2007 season were. They wanted to win their 3rd straight NL West title, which was unprecedented in a sense. They won 89 games, which was good, but they ended up 3rd in the division, tied with Colorado for the NL wildcard and 2nd was in the NL West. So they had to play that 1-game playoff in Colorado for a chance to move on to the NLDS. The Padres had Kevin Kuzminoff picked up. Cleveland traded Kuzminoff to San Diego for Josh Barfield, the center, Jesse Barfield. Marcus Giles was signed by the Padres for 2nd base. So yeah, the NL West was a mess. I mean, you had Arizona, Colorado, and San Diego all doing quite well. Arizona snuck in. I think it was head-to-head with Colorado and San Diego or something. I don't know how Arizona got Arizona won 90 games. Colorado and San Diego both won 89. So they had to play a 1-game playoff in Colorado. Yeah, and Colorado had the better head-to-head, so I think that's why Colorado was ahead of them. San Diego was 14-4 against the Giants. So the lineup for the Padres were Heath Bell, a good relief pitcher. Trevor Hoffman, Hells Bells, the closer, and all that. Scott Lindbergh, Greg Baddock's even played for the 2007 Padres, one of the greatest base pitchers of all time, and Cubs too. Jake Peavy also was on that roster. Brett Tomko, former Reds icon. David Wells, former Yankee and Blue Jay icon. And Chris Young. Catching Josh Bard, Michael Barrett, former Expo, and Pila Foray from Canada. Infielders Jeff Blum, former Astro and White Sox. Morgan Ensberg, Marcus Giles, Ensberg, former Astro. Adrian Gonzalez, back in the early days. Khalil Green, Chase Headley, Kevin Kuzmanoff. And then their outfielders, Milton Bradley, the malcontent, who had troubles with people. Mike Cameron, Jose Cruz Jr., former Blue Jay, was on that team. Ryan Giles, former Pirates standout. Jesse Lane and Rock Makoviak. So Josh Bard was the catcher. Adrian Gonzalez usually was at first. Marcus Giles at second. Khalil Green at short. Kevin Kuzmanoff at third. Termel Sledge, Mike Cameron, and Brian Giles all did their jobs and all that. Riley played 42 games that year. I wonder if that was the season he got. Was that the season he got injured thanks to his manager or something for the Padres? I think it was. I'm gonna have to take a quick look. Yeah, he played for the Padres in 2007. Yeah, September 2007, he tore his right ACL after altercation with the first base umpire. Anyway, he had to miss some time and all that. Bradley was not suspended for a thing about Winters, the pitcher, the reliever. Yeah, it was that season when Bradley could have played more for the Padres, but he injured himself. Jake Peavy with a 19-win season, Greg Maddux with 14 wins, Chris Young with 9. So, and David Wells on the tail end of his career. So Peavy and Maddux looking pretty good. One game. So anyway, Philly actually picked up Pete LaFleur off waivers from the Padres. Trevor Hoffman was the closer, 42. Yeah, they played that one game wild card in Denver. It was a 13-inning affair, which Colorado won 9-8. But it wasn't San Diego's fault. It was the fault of that controversial play, all that. So the 2007 wild card. Colorado won a coin flip late in the season, which awarded them home field for the game. Jake Peavy was the starter against Josh Fogg, so they did all that. Padres scored 5 runs in the third. It was 6-6, and then the 13th inning when the Padres scored twice to put up a fantastic number, and then they put Hoffman in to close the game, and then he inexplicably gave up 3 runs and all that. And of course, Matt Holliday crossed home plate. Controversially, they said because he didn't touch home plate, which actually the Carlos said was the case. So the Padres, so this is why I'm doing the 2007 Padres, is because they got robbed. They got jobbed in that game. So what if the Padres did win that wild card berth and faced the Phillies? Let's find out. So this is what happened. So the Padres get their matchup against Philadelphia. Jake Peavy, of course, pitched that one game playoff, so he's not fit to start. Philadelphia started with Cole Hamels. So anyhow, that's what happened at first. So the Padres would face the Phillies. Now, despite Arizona actually having the top seed in the National League, the rule at the time was that the wild card and the division winner and the number one seed, it was 1-4. If they were both from the same division, they couldn't face each other. So that's why the Padres had to face the Phillies, and the Diamondbacks took on the Cubs and swept the Cubs. So for safety's sake, we do assume that Arizona would have been the Cubs. So the winner would face Arizona in this series, in a sense. So the Padres start in Philadelphia. Chris Young versus Cole Hamels. So close with the wins and all that. Game 1 sees the Padres get absolutely shelled 12-1 by the Phillies. Pat Burrell got an RBI single score victorino, but Aaron Rowland whacked one down the left field line to make it 4-0. Stay that way till the 6th when Aaron Rowland hit a double to score Pat Burrell. Carlos Ruiz took Brett Tomko deep, and then they went with line break to pitch, make it 6-0. Mike Cameron hits a home run in the top of the 8th. Jimmy Rollins hits a home run. And then Aaron Rowland, 2-run home run. Jimmy Rollins. Shane Victorino gets 2 RBIs for Dobbs and Ruiz. Utley gets a double to score Victorino, and then Hampson pitched. So the Padres couldn't do a damn thing, and Cole Hamels shrugged, saying, I might as well pitch the whole game, which he did. Chris Young only lasted 6 innings. Tom Cole came in, gave up that home run, got the infinite ERA. Line break at inning 2/3, giving up 6 runs, and then Justin Hampson had to come in. So the Padres lost game 1. Game 2 went to Kyle Kendrick, who faced Colorado in game 2 in real life. Jake Peavy was not fit yet, so they went with Maddox for game 2 because game 3 was in San Diego. And game 2 sees the Phillies win 8-5 as Jimmy Rollins hit a Texas League single to score Victorino, make it 1-0. And then Aaron Rowland hit a double to score Burrell. Top of the 6th, Guzman hits a single to score Agon. And then the bottom of the 6th, everything fell to pieces. Rowland hit an infield single. Pat Burrell crushed a 2-run home run. And then Aaron Rowland also went deep. So it was 5-1. Heath Bell came in to pitch. Victorino would hit a single to score Greg Dobbs, make it 6-1. Pat Burrell hit a home run to left. They went with Linebrink, and Rowland went deep. So Philly loved that ballpark with their hitting. However, in the top of the 9th, Kyle Loesch came in to pitch. The Padres got Kuzminov striking out. Giles hit a home run to left. Cruz Jr. singled. Giles swung and missed for strike 3. Michael Milton Bradley came in for Limbreak, took a walk, and then Mike Cameron hit a 3-run home run. Threw it 8-5. Brett Myers came in for the save. I think it was the save, yeah. Should have made a save because it was 8-5. Anyway, Kendrick went 7. Jose Mesa pitched an 8. I thought he was not around. So yeah, Kendrick, Mesa, Loesch, and Brett Myers. Greg Maddox went 5 innings. He fell 2/3. Tom Cole 2/3, and Linebank inning 2/3. The Padres are up 2. So Jake Peavy would pitch game 3 against Jamie Moyer because they go for a 3-man rotation in the LDS. If the Padres lose, then it's over. They went with their best, and it worked. Padres won 6-3. So the Padres went with their best, and it worked. Peavy helped his own cause in the bottom of the 5th, getting a triple to score the Giles boys, Brian and Marcus. Durbin came in to pitch. Cameron doubled to score Peavy, and then Agon hit a double to score Cameron, 4-0. Jose Cruz gets a 2-run home run in the 6th. Victorino and Utley tripled in a couple of runs. Top of the 9th, Heath Bell came in to pitch. Ruiz doubles to score Rowan. Jason Worth came in to pinch hit. Hoffman came in for the save and got Worth singled when Victorino struck out. How's Bell's? PB 8 innings. Bell tried his best to not have Hoffman. The game by Hoffman won. JB went 4 1/3. Durbin an inning 2/3, and Madsen 2 innings. Two to 1. We go to game 4. And it would be Hamel. Back to the starters. As it is Hamels versus Young. And in the end, it would be the Padres actually winning 5-4 in game 4. So that's amazing. So it was 0-0 for the longest time till the 6th when Kuzminov hit a home run to make it 1-0. Keith Bell came in to pitch and did his job. Jeff Geary came in to pitch. Michael Bradley came in for Heath Bell. And Milton hit a 2-run home run, making Alfonseca come in to pitch. The man with 6 fingers on his right hand. Khalil Green singled to make it 4-0, and then Tom Gordon came in and got Kuzminov out. Tom Gordon. Oh, it was 4-0. Clay Meredith came in to pitch. Rosen first and second. Burrow singled to score Howard. Kyle came in to pitch. Walked Rowan. Struck it. Got Dobbs and Ruiz out, so it was clear sailing as well. Then Michael Bourne comes in to pitch hit for Gordon, and Bourne hits a triple to get everyone across. Rollins, Burrows, and Rowan. Roland. Victorino grounded out, so it looked like the Padres would have got out of it, but they didn't. And then Brett Myers came in to pitch the bottom of the 9th, and then Josh Bard greeted him with a home run to left. Walk-off, Padres have forced a game 5. Chris Young, 6. Heath Bell, inning. Meredith, the infinite You're right. Brooke Kyle got credit for the blown save. Hoffman does get the win. Ninth inning. Cole Hamels went sixth, then Jeff Gury on Fonseca, Tom Gordon, Clay Condrey, and then Brent Myers gave up the home run. So it's 2-2 headed back to Philadelphia because I think the rule at the time was that game 5 was in Philadelphia. It was not a 2-3, I think. So Kyle Kendrick had to pitch against Greg Maddux in game 5. And lo and behold, the Phillies won game 5. So Philly would have won over San Diego. It would have been close. Cameron did hit an inside the park home run. Congratulations. And then the bottom of the third, Utley scores Victorino with a single. Pat Burrell gets a sac fly to make it 2-1. Then Utley hits a double to clear the bases of Dobbs, Ruiz, and Victorino, putting Hampson on the mound. So the Padres were in trouble. Ruiz got a sac fly, making Hensley come in the game. Rollins hit a double to score Utley and Howard, and the Padres did nothing. The Padres could not win in Philadelphia. Philly could not win in San Diego, but the Padres lose, and so Kyle Hendrick has 7 innings, Geary has 2. So the Padres would have lost to the Phillies, and by my estimation, I think the Phillies probably would have been the best opponent for Boston, but I think Arizona would have won, and I think Red Sox would have still won the World Series. Greg Maddux 3 1/3 just couldn't do it. Hampson, Hensley, and Langbrick tried their best, but they couldn't do their job. So the Phillies would have taken care of the Padres, and Rocktober would not have existed. Boston, I think, still would have won the World Series, but yeah, it probably would have been Philadelphia by my guess. So you never know. Anyhow, Jeff Diamond, I do.